right, good morning. All right, let's do a quick analysis of today's Bitcoin price. We're starting with the monthly chart here, and we just started a new month. So we finished July yesterday, and today is August 1st, 2024. So July was somewhat doji-like, right? We opened, we went higher, we went lower, ended up back in the middle. And this is coming after several months. So it's clear like we've been chopping sideways with putting in lower highs. Are these two highs? Is this the high of July was 71,949 and the high of, that's June. Sorry, the high of June was 71,949, 71,958. So June was slightly lower than May. 71,958 and 949, like by just barely a few dollars, which is nothing at that level. But nevertheless, we're seeing lower highs consistently, and we're not seeing lower lows consistently. We put in an intermediate term low over here and another intermediate term low. But we have been respecting this BISI, this bullish fair value gap, as well as this inverted bullish fair value gap. So that looks good from the highest time frames. Question is, what's going to be in the coming weeks and maybe the next couple of months? Let's go down to the weekly for some insights into that. So for several weeks now, I've been talking about how this week, the weekly candle, the 1st of July, we had a market structure shift over here, which was the first time we had that since where we closed below a swing low, right, prior to it. I'm just making sure I didn't miss one. And since back in November of 2022. And typically that would be a bearish sign. It doesn't mean that we can't retrace back up into optimal trade entry of this dealing range, starting with this high down to this low, right, which we have up over, right? That's the 1 and the 0. So we've retraced back up into the optimal trade entry, and even a little bit beyond, but we didn't stay above 79%. I don't think we closed above 79%. Even if we were to extend this up there, well, especially if we extend it up there, we haven't closed above 79%. So we're still respecting that. It could very well be that we retrace into optimal trade entry before coming back down. I don't know if that's what we're doing. I'm just observing. I'm just pointing out what I noticed. Now, arguing for bullishness, right, is that we have a bullish market structure shift in the second week following the bearish market structure shift. So that didn't last very long. But again, it could be a retracement. It could be a continuation. It could be that we had a bit of manipulation over here, grabbing some sell side liquidity before pushing up, and will perhaps be continuing higher. So it's not really clear yet on the weekly time frame. We have another half a week, 3.5 days left for this weekly candle. So we don't know. Like if we do end up, let's say, closing below previous week's open, that would be a change in state of delivery, and that would be a sign of weakness. If we continue to respect this weekly bullish fair value gap, this weekly BISI, then that could be a sign of continued strength, or at least going sideways. Let's go down to the daily to get a sense as to what we might be able to expect in the coming week or so. So as we pointed out also in previous analyses, we'd had quite a number of daily bearish order flow. That changed, as we pointed out in the weekly, when we closed above these swing highs here, pushed above, had a market structure shift above the impulse leg that brought us all the way down, that brought this manipulation down over here. Then we consolidation, right? And then we had this expansion moving up, and we put in a bullish order block on these two daily candles, pushed up higher with a bullish fair value gap, a BISI. But we came down and we have inverted this fair value gap here. So we need to certainly notice that we may be looking at some weakness. And as you'll see, there's combinations of, there are things pointing to weakness as well as signs pointing to strength. And there we go. Okay. So we have this bullish inversion fair value gap on the daily. Whoops. There's inversion. Sorry, that is a bearish inversion fair value gap on the daily. All right. Now, let's see here. What else did I want to point out? Now, another signs of weakness here is we have change of state of delivery once we close below this open, right? The open of those bullish candles. And however, we're now facing, we're now going to have to see a test. Like we have some signs of weakness and signs of strength. Right? Price came up here and respected the SIBI, the bearish daily fair value gap, going back to here, which also overlaps with a 4-hour bearish fair value gap, which we'll see shortly. We started to curl downwards. As I said, we put in a bearish change in state of delivery. Not sure I would not consider this a bearish market structure shift on the daily yet. But we also put in a 4 equal lows. We have multiple relatively equal lows down over here, which means that there's a lot of sell side liquidity down over here. Okay. What we also have here is imbalances. We have these bullish imbalances, which again, so there's bullish imbalances to be rebalanced possibly, and there's a lot of sell side liquidity under here. On the other hand, as you see right here, we have a bullish order block. This set of bullish candles here is an order block because we have a low and a high and a lower low and then a higher high. And so far we have respected this bullish order block over here. We've come back down and respected it again. We've respected it a third time just earlier today. Question is, are we going to come in and perhaps grab some of this sell side liquidity? I would bet that we will. My guess would be we are going to come down at least to 62,000 or so. But you know, at that point, we'll be able to see whether it's likely that we're going even lower, because we're now battling. Again, we've been going sideways for several months now. And now the question is, and I don't know the answer, is who's going to win out? So, I mean, on a very short term, meaning the next couple of days, next few days, we might move back up. And we want to see, are we going to respect this bearish inversion fair value gap? In which case we're almost certainly coming down to grab sell side. Are we going to come down and grab sell side here and then continue lower and then violate this bullish breaker? If we do that, then it's very likely that we're going to come back down below 53,500, putting us down into the lowest we've been in a long time. And remember, on the weekly, we pointed out how we've had not exclusively lower lows as we've had lower highs, but we do have, we could certainly here, we have something of, lower lows. We can definitely call it that. And we're having lower highs, even though we've kind of been moving sideways. Now, I know some people will say that that is a bull flag, I think. That's not the type of analysis that I usually do. I'm using ICT concepts, which is where I'm getting these insights that I'm sharing. And if you're familiar with it and are seeing things that I may have missed, please point it out in the comments. these are just marking off, by the way, this is minus 20% off of the all-time high up there, minus 25%, minus 30%. Let's go down to the 4-hour. And on the 4-hour, we see this is that the inversion for value gap on the daily that I'd show you on the daily. On the 4-hour, we see that we respected a 4-hour SIBI, which overlaps significantly with the daily that was respected on the daily, which you can rewind and see that. I mentioned that earlier. I also marked off a few of the last 3 purchases that I've made. I bought over here because I wanted to be sure, as we had a brief retracement here of about $1,400. I figured, and we started showing some strength. I figured I'll get some, just in case we go up for new highs. We went up, had weakness, came back down, came over here, and usually I would have waited for a little more weakness, but it was about $1,500 down from here, which was, what is that? That's like 2%. So I got a little bit more over here with that pullback. And then earlier today, when we came down here, I got some more before we started curling back up. So as we were coming down, or just barely bouncing at the bottom here, where we put in these relatively equal lows. So these relatively equal lows, as I pointed out, there's a lot of sell side liquidity under here. There's rebalancing over here. This was another thing that may or may not be respected going forward. Like if we come down here and then respect the 4-hour BISI and the 4-hour bullish inversion for value gap, that's a sign of more bullishness to come if we close below it. And this, of course, overlaps with the daily bullish breaker that I showed you on the previous chart, right? Actually, we can make it visible so that we can see exactly where it will show up. Yeah, and we see that this 4-hour inversion overlaps with this bullish breaker. We also have the same, you can also just call this that would be the same type of thing, and a bullish inversion on the daily chart. We have another small one up over here. So there's a lot to look out for over here. And it's hard to know which way we're going to go. I'd say the very short term, maybe we're going to push up a little bit. I think it's, the next few days, I would expect that we're going to come down and revisit between 63,200 and 61,500. I think that I would be surprised if over the next let's say 1 to 5, 6, 7 days we don't end up in that range. But I can't know for sure. Do not know. All right, that's what I'm seeing today, and let me know what you think. Hope this was helpful. If you liked it, please press the like button.